All right, so picking up here at seed structure. So once fertilization occurs, the pollen grains with the sperm fertilize the eggs and the ovules. Seeds begin to develop, of course, only if we're talking about conifers and angiosperms, focusing mostly here on angiosperms. So seed structure has a couple important pieces. You need to know that there's always going to be a seed coat. So the seed coat, of course, its job is going to be protecting the baby plant and the food inside the seed. Sometimes our fancy word for seed coat is testa. Seed coat is good enough. Inside the testa, inside the seed coat, you're going to have a couple pieces. There's always going to be some kind of food. And the food is either going to be in the form of cotyledons. In the bean, which is a dicot, there's actually going to be two cotyledons. If we're looking at corn, there's only going to be one cotyledon. It's a monocot. Food can also come in the form of endosperm. So endosperm, cotyledon, this is both going to provide food for the developing baby plant, for that sprout. Other pieces, we're going to have a shoot apex. So here's the baby plant. We're going to have radicle. It's the baby root. So radicle is always the baby root. And then the developing shoot part of the plant is going to be the plumule baby plant, or the shoot apex, the plumule. These are all the baby plants growing. So important pieces in a seed. There's a seed coat, also called testa. You're going to have baby root, called the radicle. You're going to have baby shoot, called the plumule. And then there's going to be some kind of food to supply sugar and ATP to the plant as it's starting to grow until it can start to photosynthesize for itself. That food's going to come in the form of either cotyledons and or endosperm. Some plants get lucky and have both. So we get that seed developed, and we want to spread them out as much as possible. If the apple seeds are falling right under the mama apple tree, they're going to be competing for resources, competing for nutrients in the soil, water in the soil, competing for light. And so the goal is to spread those seeds out. The parent and the offspring aren't competing for resources. There's lots of different ways that seeds can be dispersed. Wind is pretty fun. So the maple tree helicopter seeds, I don't know if you've ever played with those, super fun. Dandelions, blowing those dandelion seeds away. You're spreading out those seeds very nicely for the dandelion. These are my least favorite kinds of seeds. So these burrs that'll get stuck to animal fur or my socks when I'm outside. And then we carry these guys around until they fall off or we pick them off. Some plants will dump their seeds into water, and then the water will flow and take the seeds away, and they'll start to grow somewhere downstream. Some super cool plants will just burst. So violets will rupture, their seeds will pop out, fly away. And then, of course, animals and humans will spread seeds around too. Agriculture, we clearly have done a really good job of helping seeds travel. But animals, in eating things like cherries and eating apples, we eat the fruit part. Well, not us so much, but horses will also eat the seed of the apple, travel a little bit, go to the restroom, and deposit those seeds someplace else, which is really good for the plant. Once those plants are deposited, or the seeds are deposited somewhere, germination can occur. So germination is just the starting of the sprouting of the seed. What's pretty cool about seeds is a lot of them can stay dormant for a long time. Some of them have to stay dormant for a very, very long time. We have pea seeds in the lab from 1998 that still grow. That's amazing. Older than you, and yet we can still make baby plants out of them. It's pretty cool. Anyhow, some factors that are going to affect germination. So plants have to have water, oxygen. There needs to be the right temperature, not always the same one, sometimes hot, sometimes cold. We have to have the right pH. And again, this isn't the same for all plants. Some plants like neutral, some plants like it to be acidic, some plants like it to be a little bit more alkaline or basic. But everybody needs these things to get started. The pH needs to be right. The temperature needs to be right. There has to be a supply of oxygen so that the plants their mitochondria can use the food stored in the seed to make ATP to actually grow, and of course, water. And then some plants have specialized conditions. Some plants, there has to be a fire before those seeds will germinate. They need to know that the parents were wiped out before they'll germinate, so that the competition isn't there. There's no need for them to sprout until the parent organisms aren't living anymore. Some seeds need to go through a freezing season. The bulbs that we plant outside, they need to freeze. Our tulips and our daffodils like to get cold through the winter to thaw out and bloom in the spring. And then some really amazing seeds need to actually be eaten, need to pass through the digestive tract of an animal before they are activated. And again, this is just an advantage for those seeds to not start to bloom until they are farther away from the parent organism. So how does the germination process even happen? Well, the seed coat here is going to get kind of wet and mushy. There's a little hole for water to get in and out of. The first thing to pop out of the seed is the radicle, the baby root. So it pops out and it goes up and then down. And so now we've got this root. Once the root starts to anchor the plant down, the cotyledons are going to pop out. These cotyledons, or sometimes we call it the seed leaves or leaf, are going to be that first organism, that the first leaves of the organism. Not always photosynthetic. So sometimes these guys still just have that stored food, and that endosperm is still feeding the growth. Once we get past the seed leaves, these first little baby guys, all the leaves that pop out after are going to be photosynthetic. So germination starts. Radical baby root pops out first. The sprout, the epicotyl, is going to pop out next. Epicotyl, plumule, same word. And then the seed leaves are going to be those first little guys, generally not super photosynthetic, more of a storage leaf instead. And that's all I've got for plant reproduction. Work on the problem set. Just a couple FYIs after Thanksgiving. Monday's an IA work day and a little bit of review stuff. Wednesday, we're taking paper 1 quiz, and we're going to plant some seeds and look at germination. Friday will be Friday the 6th of December is not going to be our review. Oh gosh, we need to do that over. Wait. This paper 1 quiz is going to happen on Monday. This Unit 3 review quiz is going to happen on Wednesday because Friday is Adopt a Child Day. So delete all those words. Paper 1 quiz on Monday. Review quiz on Wednesday. Friday is Adopt a Child. The week after that will be all IA work time and some review stuff. And then the week after that, oh my goodness, it's already semester exam time. We're not taking a plant exam. We're just going to embed it into the semester exam. So a little bit of plants, a little bit of year 1 review, and a little bit of neuro. And we'll talk about all that stuff the second week after Thanksgiving break. And then January, we'll come back and do lots of physiology. And that's all I got. Have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving. Check on the plants that you check on all the plants that we propagated in lab on Tuesday. My kids are making breakfast, so it's getting loud in the kitchen. Good.